I'm Norm Poltenson, the publisher of the Business Journal, and I want to share a thought with you today about the American Dream. The American Dream is based on novels that were produced in the 19th century by Horatio Alger Jr. He wrote over 100 novels, wrote them for the working class men. And the theme of all of his novels was you could rise above your current level by hard work and by thrift and by focusing. You could, in fact, share the American dream by becoming wealthy. This is where we got the idea of rags to riches. Now, some call it a myth in our society, and it's a very stubborn myth that we still believe in today. Now, there's another myth that parallels that goes back much farther, and that's the myth of Robin Hood, which takes us back to 12th century England. And Robin Hood apparently was dispossessed of his land and pursued by the wicked sheriff of Nottinghamshire. And in turn, Robin got together, created his merry band of men, and decided that he'd spend his life discomfiting the sheriff of Nottingham and eventually the king and trying to get his property back. The idea there is take from the rich and give to the poor. Both of these myths, I'll call them, persist today. But getting away from the idea of myths, let me look at the American dream. The American dream resides in the heart of entrepreneurs and business people and those who aspire. It has no residence. Robin Hood, on the other hand, does have a residence, and he's residing at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where he continues to take from the rich and give to the poor. Now, thinking about these two myths, I'm very much a supporter of the rags to riches concept of the American dream. I've written about it for 27 years now as publisher of the Business Journal, and I see it every day in my life. We've all seen immigrants who come to America, can't speak a word of English. Some of them create absolutely thriving businesses. Their children go on to be valedictorians and become professionals. The American dream is certainly alive for them, and it's alive for the rest of us. The thing that concerns me about the American dream is what's happening with this economy and what's happening with societal developments as it affects the bottom quintile of earners. I'm particularly looking at men in that quintile who have less education. It's clear that their earnings have been falling for some period of time. What's also clear is that there's a direct parallel to the fact that they're not marrying. What many of them are doing is simply dropping out of the economy, as noted by our March figures, where 496,000 people decided they were no longer going to look for work. All of this is tied back into a concern that we don't have stable two-parent families anymore. The trend has been towards single parents in the home, particularly mothers. Now, we may say that's just a societal change and it's just another lifestyle. But when we look at the impact on earnings, and we know that the key to better earnings is better education. It's been the key in America for well over a century, and it's accepted by both liberals and conservatives as that's vital. Tied to that is the fact that a stable two-parent family is the best indicator of whether you're going to get an education or not. Now, I address this problem because my concern is the bottom quintile is no longer mobile. And that's the whole concept of the American dream, that anybody can move up and down the ladder depending on their capability, depending on their focus, depending on that Horatio Alger idea of self-reliance and thrift and working very hard. We have a stratification that's developing in that bottom quintile, and it's very dangerous for society. It attacks the very concept of the American dream and economic and social mobility. So as we think about this economy that we're in, think of it not just because of the economic impact that it has, think about it also from the social impact that it has on the broader society. And that's a great concern. I'm Norm Poltenson. Thanks for listening.